Everything about this story is bizarre. What the hackers did, how Meta handled the situation, and what the end result was for my page. Nothing happened as I expected. So it all started as my administration got an email, they forwarded it to me, and seemed like a standard conference invitation. It was by some guy that I didn't know, but I checked it out. He had like 1 million followers. Everything seemed legit. They were talking about money. The rate they proposed was reasonable, was my usual rate actually. And everything seemed above board. Exchanged a couple emails about exactly what they wanted. They laid out their details for some conference with roundtable discussion at the end, and all seemed like pretty normal stuff. They also talked about money and like you would get the money before the presentation. Then I asked, okay, how does it work exactly? And they said, okay, we do it via Facebook. And the guy was big on Facebook. So, okay. And I asked them, how does that work exactly? Because if it's a roundtable, like do you have multiple people on Facebook Live? Is that even possible? They're like, yes, it's possible. But you just have to enable something on your page and then you can do a Facebook Live with multiple people. And I was like, okay, I've never heard of that, but how do you do that exactly? And they emailed, well, we were emailing back and forth at this moment, pretty much at the same time, so essentially chatting. And they were like, well, while you're here, how about I just show you on my phone? I was like, okay, so we hopped on a Zoom call, audio only. It made sense because it was last minute, it wasn't an arranged call or anything. And the guy showed with his screen share on his Facebook, which seemed like the page of that guy, that he had something enabled. And he was like, okay, so you need this. Do you have that? I was like, I don't know. Go deep into Facebook business settings and whatever. And he's like, okay, so you don't have this. You have too many users. And I was like, indeed, I have my whole team on there. And also some pixel for advertising and whatever. So he's like, yeah, you don't have room. So you need to create an additional user. And then you can use that for the call. And I was like, weird. But okay. And so he showed on his screen again, like how it should look. And he's like, on my screen, look different. Okay. And he says, you have to add a user. I'm like, a little bit weird, but okay, I just add one of my own company emails, coaching@mennoandsimons.com. Hard to go anything wrong, you would think. So send an email and yeah, I add the user, you get an email from Facebook and you have to click on the link and voila, user is added. And then the guy asked, okay, so you have to go into your user settings now and you have to change the rights. And he said basically what amounted to taking my own admin rights and demoting myself to a normal user. And at this point I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. How about you just email me exactly what you want and we'll take it from there. Like, okay, no problem. And at that point I was already like, So immediately apped my head of marketing, who does all the Facebook stuff and the business advertising management. And I was like, just had a very weird conversation. Don't think anything wrong, but just feels bad. He went into the account, he was like, hey, I don't have admin rights anymore, everything looks different. I went into the account, multiple new users started popping up. They were somehow using the user I created with my own email and adding their own users. So some Vietnamese name and some clear weird hacker name that only hackers would choose, like whatever, Black Death Knight or some shit like that. And at this point I was like, okay, this is bad. But I went in there, I tried to remove the users, and then it turned out I also didn't have admin rights on my own page anymore. So I'm the founder and the admin of the page, and somehow the user that I created, but they got access to, could remove my own admin rights, which to me seems like a massive security flaw. Just the fact that by clicking on a link in an email via an email that they don't control, because I also checked that, changed the passwords and everything, all security settings enabled, everyone has two-factor authentication and all that stuff. So seems like a kind of a glaring oversight in security to me, but I don't know, what do I know about these things? And they got access to everything, kicked everyone of my team out, kicked me out, and didn't have access to my own page anymore. Lost the page, lost the advertising account, which is coupled to my credit cards, and we have nothing. Okay, damage control. Immediately put out an announcement on Instagram because, of course, my intuition was that they're going to use this account. They're going to first try to use their credit card with the advertising account to promote their own products or whatever, and probably post some get-rich-quick scheme that makes people transfer all their money to some account out of my name using my reputation to get people to pay them for something. So put out a story and post on Instagram like, hey, account is hacked. So don't buy into anything. And contacted Meta support, like, hey, please lock down the account. We don't have access anymore. We got hacked. And blocked all the credit cards and payment methods that were tied to the advertising account, which was a massive pain in the ass. Because we were just about to launch the biggest sales period of the year, this year's Hans Salons online PT certification course. Now at this point, there's nothing else we can do, so we just go about our day and hope for the best. The next morning I wake up and I check my account, prepare to see all sorts of crazy ads and scams and whatever. Nothing on the account. First couple days, if I remember correctly, nothing, or at least first 2 days. So why hack an account, go through all that trouble, and then just keep the account? Also check the credit cards, the payment methods. They didn't touch them. So very weird. Maybe Meta did something that they cannot post. What did they do? They hacked the account, went through all that trouble, and what they started posting was generally viral content. They just started spamming the crap out of my account with cat videos, generally funny videos, memes, and that's what they used the account for. So literally, we exchanged probably 20 emails. They discussed money. We discussed all the specifics of the event. It was a very elaborate scheme, like they hopped on the call with me. They went through all of that trouble to hack the account, not use the advertising accounts, not even try, to just hack my page and post viral content. Like, the fuck? So meanwhile, we're dealing with Meta. So now before I talk about what transpired between me and Meta, I want to preface this by saying that I'm absolutely not the type that just hates Mark Zuckerberg because he's rich. And I don't hate Meta. I think that I am a customer of their platforms that allow me to do very nice things. And I am, in general, a happy customer of their platform. Like, I use their platform a lot, which is to me tantamount to saying that I like the platform. So I think a lot of people are extremely entitled online. I think that people, especially that don't pay for YouTube or Facebook or Instagram account or whatever, and they expect the company to just do everything for them. Like, if you're not paying for a service, then you also cannot expect them realistically to do much. Like, you're not even a customer, right? You're literally getting a gift from them. You're getting a free app. So you're not entitled to anything. Like, they don't owe you shit. So if you lose your account and they don't do anything, I mean, that sucks, but you're not entitled to get it back and get customer service or anything. So I think a lot of people come into social media kind of like, with a completely different perspective than you'd have in person. Whereas to me, going on someone's page or in general on a platform, it's like going to a marketplace and then you see people offering you stuff. Some of that's paid, some of that might be free. And if it's free, that's amazing, right? It's like you can go to a marketplace in town and people offer you free stuff that you can consume. So people come to that with the mindset that if the free stuff is not amazing, then they think it sucks and they're entitled to more, right? And I think that's absolutely crazy. But in this case, I am a customer of Meta Verified, which explicitly advertises that they do now offer customer service. Not only that, I am a very good customer of Meta. Over the course of my career, I have spent 6 figures on their advertising. So I am a very, very good customer by conventional standards, right? If somebody spends 6 figures on you, and they explicitly have an account that is supposed to give you premium customer service, you would think that you get a decent level of customer service. That was not the case. My head of marketing first contacted them on 22 December. It took them until 1 February to get the account back. It took 35 emails between me, my head of marketing, and various people from Meta to get this fixed. These various people at Meta were working in different teams, clearly showing that they have an extremely bureaucratic organization. This was explicitly acknowledged by some of the people. And the different teams that are compartmentalized to such a level that even very similar things that you would think belong to the same team are now part of a different team, and they don't know what the other teams are doing. In fact, in one exchange, I was told that when dealing with the other team, I should not mention that the account was hacked, because they knew that the other team had some bureaucratic void that if you mention the word hacked, then some algorithm or something would detect that word, and they would not take this seriously, or it would just disappear into some void where they can't help you or whatever. So I was literally told to say, I lost access to my account. Like, it wasn't hacked, I just kind of lost it. Like you lose your keys or something, you know? Like I lost my Facebook account. Moreover, the level of competence displayed by many of the people working there was abysmal. They had no idea of how their own products worked. They gave us back at some point after a couple of weeks access to the advertising account, and they said, okay, now you can advertise again, but you can't because it's linked to the page. If you don't have the page, you also cannot advertise. Like, for those that don't know, Meta owns both Facebook and Instagram, and it's all tied together now. And Facebook seems to be kind of, because Facebook is the one that bought Instagram, it all seems to come back to Facebook as a platform that rules everything. And if you don't have the Facebook page, then you kind of don't have anything. So they themselves seem confused by how complicated the whole system is, especially when you go into the business manager side of the page, things that you cannot see as a general user. Things become very complicated there, and I don't even know how all of that stuff works. And apparently they don't either, because they kept asking me for an email or a phone number attached to the page. And they could not understand the confusion between a page and a user profile. Now, many people watching this maybe also don't know, but there's a big difference between a page and a user profile. A user profile is what everyone has, and a page is managed by user profiles. The page itself does not have an email or a phone number, and it has multiple users attached to it. And they kept asking me like, oh, do you have two-factor authentication enabled? Yeah, a page doesn't have that. A page is managed by a profile. The profiles were fine. We all had access to our profiles. They just hacked the page. I also don't know how that's possible. But apparently it is possible if you're a hacker to have your own standalone page. I guess they linked it to one of their own user accounts. So this was also very, very confusing to the people at Meta, where multiple exchanges, they were like, okay, but what's the phone number? There is no phone number, it's a page, it's not a user profile. In any case, the highlight of this whole process was probably the moment a few weeks in when we already had access back to our advertising account, and we now were working with a different team to get the Facebook page itself back. That again, you would need to make the advertising account even work. At this moment, they started asking for official identity documents, proof of ownership of the company, articles of incorporation, all that kind of stuff. A little bit late, you would think, but okay, no problem. I supplied them with all the documents. Don't hear back from them for another week, almost 2 weeks. So I have to email them what's going on. Turns out what happened was that they had to send it to a different team. That team rejected the documents because, here it comes, they were not printed on official company letterhead. Meta, a completely digital company, me, another completely digital company, not being able to exchange documents because my documents are not printed on official company letterhead. I don't even have official company letterhead. I mean, it's 2024. Official company letterhead has no legal significance in either the Netherlands or the US. So I literally had to create a new official company letterhead with my logo on the papers, print it on that, sign the documents, send it back, and then they would process it. Before that was done, they actually closed the case, sent me an email with some general copy-paste, giving me some security suggestions like, hey, what you should do, maybe enable two-factor authentication, maybe update your password. We're done, right? Good, right, glad to be of service. So we were not happy, and we left a negative review. Apparently, this affects somebody at Meta, so now they actually got on it, and things got done within about a week. And then we got access to the page back, and it got solved. So thank you, Meta. Took a while, but in the end, you got it done. So thank you, I guess. Now, if you think that was crazy, here's the craziest part. After a decade of posting evidence-based fitness content on the profile, I had managed to grow the page to about 60K users, and there it was pretty much flatlined. There wasn't much growth left. Most people have gone to Instagram, and Instagram is doing much better. I'm over 160K there as opposed to 60K on Facebook. Now, a decade of doing that brought me to 60K. 1 month of posting funny cat videos and memes by a hacker brought the account to 175,000 subscribers. So you can either spend 10 years posting evidence-based fitness content, or you can get double the results of that in a single month of posting generally viral, funny meme content. Yeah. By the way, since you seem to be into evidence-based fitness content, you might be interested in the online Hanselmans PT certification course. You'll learn absolutely everything you need to know to get results like these. The link is in the description.